Hello, and thank you for joining us for this lesson on Workbooks CRM. Make sure you check out our free live training webinar class schedule at www.lucidswitch.com/webinar. Also, follow us on Twitter and Facebook for updates on Workbooks, CRM best practices, and new video tutorials.
This video is going to focus on laying out a form layout. So as we can see here, I've got the person layout pulled up, and this is what it looks like right now as we haven't done anything to it yet. So you see a whole bunch of fields just kind of laying around here. So we're going to change it and make it look nice and pretty. So in order to do that, you go into your customize person. You can either go to Start, Configuration, Record Types, or I've created a shortcut on the desktop, which is easier. I just go into Customize Person. I'm going to choose my Form Layouts tab. I'm going to click on my default person layout. Now I've got another monitor here, and so I've created a spreadsheet with how my layout's going to work, so it'll be pretty easy for me to do this relatively quickly. We've got a whole bunch of different things that we can see on this page here. We've got fields, sections, tabs, automation, and layout rules. Right now, essentially, we're just going to take a look at the sections real quick, make sure I've got everything set up the way I wanted it before. I've got my main form column layout, I've got my employee information, and then I've got to create two more sections, it looks like. So I'm going to create my driver info, and I'm going to create my secretary info. So I'm going to add a new section, and I'm going to call the section driver info, and I'm going to put it to 2 columns, and I'm going to say the parent section is going to be the form. So if you use the form, that's basically like the main section itself. If you put it in another section, then it would actually be a section within a section. So I'm just going to put it as form, and then it's going to ask me what the position is, and I want it to be right after employee information, so I'm just going to click on that. Tile and border, I'm going to tile and border it, and then I'm going to copy the driver info, and I'm going to say that it's not collapsible, so it's always going to show me the driver info. I'm going to hit save and close, and then I got to add my other section called secretary info. So basically, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a couple additional sections to put into my master layout, and our next lesson is going to focus on how to create form layout rules, so we can actually just have a driver page and a secretary page, and it's going to be relatively simple. Probably wouldn't do that normally, but for this lesson, it's just easier to do it this way. So I'm going to go form last. And then this is going to go after the driver info. Again, I'm going to put secretary info into the title. This is just the section name, and then if we actually put the title here, this is what we're going to see on the screen. So this one I'm going to say collapsible yes, and I'll just say initially shown so we can see the difference. I'm going to hit save and close, and now I can actually start working with my fields. So I click on the Fields tab, and now I've got a specific order that we kind of put things in, and so I'm going to start going ahead to do that. But basically, I just click on the field that we want to move, which in this case is assigned to, and I'm going to pick the section. So we got the form. I don't want it to be in the form. In each section there's different columns. So this one I actually want to have main form column 1, and I'm going to put it. I'll just see what's on here. So it's actually going to be first, and I'm going to hit save and close. And now we'll see that this is going to be the first item here in the main form column 1 section. My next one is title, then I've got name, and then I do first name and last name. So I'm going to scroll down and find those fields here for first name and last name. Let's see, there we go. So I'm going to put first name after the name field, and so I just put it after name and hit save and close. Now if I was to close out of here, these changes would not be reflected, so I always have to make sure that you hit save and close here, or else you're not going to see those things. So make sure that you're just moving it in the first one, and then the second save is actually saving the layout. So be careful and cognizant of that. So I'm going to put this after first name, this is last name, and I don't really think it's important to have a middle name. If you guys want to keep a middle name, certainly feel free to, but I think it's kind of a waste of space. So I'm just going to get rid of that. I unchecked the show box, and I guess I went a little quick on that. I'll go back into it in just a moment. So the next one is going to be job title, job role, and then I've got contact type that I want to put next. So I'm going to go down and look for contact type. I might not have put this in yet, but I'll just go ahead and check. Okay, so it's down here in the custom fields. So I'm going to move it back up to the main form column 1. I'm going to put it in after job role. And then so here's a couple other items that we can just take a look at real quick. So this is the show button. If you uncheck that, it just won't show up in the form anywhere. Required, if you check this box here, what's going to happen is that you have to actually pick this, or else you can't save it. So I'll click this one for contact type because we want to know what the contact type is. Read only, this means that you can have the value for the field, but you just can't do anything with it. You might ask, well, how is that going to work if I can't put anything in? So if this person had started off as a lead and you didn't want their information changed afterwards, you'd put it as read only, so that when it's converted from a lead, it can't be changed after that. And then you can pick a default value too. So if you wanted to pick a default value for it, the drop down here is going to say, okay, what is the default value for these specific items? Now this is required, so if we put a default value, it wouldn't make us put anything in that field because it's already got a value. So we definitely don't want to do that for this one. So I'm just going to hit save and close for my contact type, and then I'm just going to hit save real quick, and then I'm going to go into my new person record, and I'm going to hit save just so you see what the changes are. Okay, so now this is actually saying, I have to put a name in for this item, so I'll just put in Bob Marley. And then I'm going to hit save. And so you're going to see that some things have started to happen. I've moved some things around here. And I've got my additional contact assigned to. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to just check something real quick. Okay, so I was kind of wondering what was going on there because nothing really changed here. So some things did, but this contact type was required, and because it was already open, and then I changed that, it's not doing anything. So I'm just going to click on employer, and I'm going to hit save, and now it started to change some things around. So this is it was employee. So this is an employee. This is actually good because we're going to use this as the employee layout form. So that's just if you want to go back and forth between the layout and to see what it actually looks like in the configuration section, you can certainly do that. I'm also going to bump a couple other things out of here too. I'm going to move the agreements. I don't think you need to have the agreements up here or the opt-outs. So what I do is I collapse them and I put them at the bottom of the page. So I'm just going to go back in here, and to do that I'm going to hit section, and then I'm going to go into let's see, I've got my agreements with Lucid Switch. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to put it on the form, and I'm going to make it collapsible hidden, and I'm going to make it last. Save and close that, and then I'm going to go into my opt-outs, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to put it into my form, I'm going to put it last, and I'm going to make it initially hidden. I'm going to hit save and close. I'm going to hit save, and I'll show you what that's going to do here. I click back on Bob, and I'm going to click save, and we're going to see that those sections have been moved to the bottom of the page, and you can see that well, I've got a bunch of things in here that I've got to switch around, but it basically cleaned up this top part here. So we have our additional contact thing that we showed or are going to show in a different lesson. Not sure what the order is there, but that's another item that we put in there right here. So I'm going to go back into this. I'm actually going to just pause the video so you don't have to watch me do all this, and then I'll just come back and show you what happened. Actually, I'm going to show you one more thing real quick. This is important because there's some different fields for people. Like we've got main location, and then there's also going to be home location. Just make sure that you put your telephone as main location, because that's going to be what gets pulled over from the sales lead if you're using it in the standard method. Okay, so I put in a lot of my fields into my first section on the top left of my layout form for the person, and then I'm here. I just wanted to show you kind of like another little trick that we can do. An easy way to put your fields in is to always call them put them in as last. But if we've got a whole bunch of things that aren't going to be in this section, we can't do that, because then we got to scroll down and see what's going on. So for instance, after best means of contact, I was going to put best days to reach, and so I'm going to go down to my best days to reach here, and then I click on this. Now I can go to main form column 1. I can't go last because I guess I could technically go last and then just delete the other one. So theoretically you could do it this way, but if I was to click on this, I'm going to see that now I got to click on here and see, where do I want to put these, this thing I want to put on here. But for now, I guess I will put it in as last, and then my actual last one is going to be best time to reach. So I'm going to put it in there. So this is, I like to just use the last feature just to hit last every time. So I need to find best time to reach. I can click on that, and I'm going to go back into my main form column 1, and I'm just going to put it last. And now I've got those 2 items in there, but I've got a whole bunch of things that are in between. I don't want this, and these items here to be in my form on that column. So another thing too is that you can actually change the way that you can view the fields that are in this. And I could click on name, and it'll change it to like descending, starting at the the top of the alphabet. But the problem with that is that now my everything's out of order. So I can and it's going to change things, but it's easier for you to view. So if you're looking for your if you know what you're doing and you've done this several times, you know that that's not maybe the order that you want to see it in. I use a spreadsheet, so it doesn't matter what I see here. I can just go by my spreadsheet when I'm picking what order it should go in. But as far as like when you're trying to find a field, sometimes you might have like 30 or 40 fields that you're looking through. The custom fields is where the things are going to be, but they're not alphabetized, so it's difficult to find. So that's one way to make it a little bit easier. But I can just hit save here, and because I didn't I don't have a view saved, it's going to go back to the order of which I put it in. So from here I would essentially just go and get rid of the things I don't want. So the other thing is that Workbooks actually create some of these fields that that are here, and you might not want them. Like it is a UK-based company, so preferred language. I mean, I guess you could use that if you're dealing with a lot of culturally diverse business people or whatever. But if you're mostly working in the U.S. and people are English, I pretty much get rid of this for the most part. So I just uncheck show, hit save and close. And then I'm going to get rid of special requirements. I don't really think that's that's necessary. I'm going to uncheck it, hit save and close. In this example, I'm going to also get rid of create activity. That's a checkbox that if you keep it checked, I'll just put it at whatever, and then I'm going to uncheck show. If you check the create activity checkbox when you save the record, it will actually automatically pop up an activity item for you to create the activity. So it makes it easier if you're going to hit save and close, and then that'll automatically pop up for you. And here's another neat little trick that you could think about. So you got salutation. So in this case, I could certainly I want to have a salutation so that if I create an email template, it'll be there. But I don't necessarily need to see it in my information. It's just kind of a waste of space. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put it into my opt-out section, because I don't really need to see opt-outs either. And so I don't, maybe it's opt-out. We have a column, so column 1. I don't really care if it's in opt-outs. I don't look at opt-outs anyways, and so at least it's hidden. It's in here, but I'm not going to see it. And so that's kind of a neat little trick to get rid of some stuff. I mean, you could create a separate section for whatever you want to have in there. I do that for contact information, so I can automate some emails and stuff, and I can show that to you in another video. And then we've got employer. That's our last one. That's going to go into the employer profile section, and then that's going to go last because that's the first one in there. I'm going to hit save and close, and now I'm just going to hit save here, and I'll show you where we're at so far, and we'll hit save. So we're going to see a lot of things kind of change around here just a bit when the view updates, so we can see that we've got this whole big long section here. Now you don't necessarily have to do it this way, but this is just to show you guys how things could be done. And so I'm going to add in a bunch of things here, and then I'm going to get rid of this main contact details, and I'm going to change to employer profile just to show you the difference of creating a different section. Actually, I misspoke there. What I'm going to do, instead of changing all of these fields and putting them into employer profile, we've got a default section in Workbooks for the main contact details, but I just don't want to call it that. I want to call it employer profile. So I just opened up the section, and I changed the title from main contact details to employer profile. So by doing that, I can hit save and close. I'll go back into my, this is just a quicker way to do it. I'm going to go back into my sections here. I've got my employee information. No, it's not it. It's the it's the employer profile section here, so I'm just going to click on that, and I'm actually just going to hide it by unchecking it. I'm going to hit save and close, and now I've got my sections here. I've got my main form column 2, so I've got my additional contact and my main contact details, but I actually want to put this on top, so I'm just going to change that to first. I'm going to hit save and close, and then I just have to take my employer and I'm going to put that into that other section that I just renamed. And since I hid that, it might be sometimes when, let's see here, no, it's going to be, okay, well, I'm just going to do the old ascending thing. I'm going to find the employer and I'm going to put him back where he needs to be, you know, and I'll show you a couple of cool things as well. So here we go. So we got the employer profile. It's still in there even though, oh, I guess, okay, so you see here that I hid the section, so it's saying, okay, where's that section? All right, so I'm just going to put this into the main contact details. So it's still going to be called main contact details, but I changed the label and the title of that section. So just remember that, you know, changing the title isn't going to change the name of the section. So that's where you just have to be careful and remember, you know, where everything is. So I'm going to put it in first. I'm going to hit save and close, and I'm going to hit save here, and then I'm going to see, you know, kind of where we're at with our layout form. So I go ahead and hit save, and now we're going to see what happens. So I got my employer profile. I still got my button here. So this is a neat button. What this does is it, if you're, you know, once you pick an employer here, and let's say I pick Lucid Switch and hit copy details from employer, it's just going to copy that information, you know, for this person record over note. So that's just something to note. So now I've got this other, you know, section here that's hidden. If I click on that, that's going to pop up, so it doesn't look so bad, you know, if I've got this section shown by default at first as well too. So now I'm just going to wrap up the rest of the layout in the next section, and then we'll wrap up this video. Okay, so now I've made a whole bunch of different changes again, and I'm going to hit the save button, and we can take a look at what the result is for the different, you know, layout items that I put in there. We've got layout, additional contact, and now we've got our employee information. So you see this section here, I actually created it so it could be collapsed. So again, you can collapse that or expand it. Then you've got your driver info. I said this one isn't going to be collapsed, and then again, this one could be collapsed. So the other thing I wanted to kind of show you is what happens when you see a couple different items here that are going to be, yeah, these are fields that are underneath this last section here. I'm just going to show you what happens when I actually put them in the form as, you know, in the actual, like in the layout under the form. So if I was to go to, it's easier just to show you instead of try to explain it first. I'm going to go to the employee notes section here. And I'm going to show you a couple differences on how you can do things depending on, you know, what you want. So this is still in custom fields. I'm going to move it out of custom fields. I'm going to put it in the form, and I'm going to actually put this almost like if it was a section. I'm going to put it after the secretary info. And so if I hit save and close, and I'm going to do the same thing with the resume section here. I'm just going to show you what happens when you do that. And so I'm going to take resume, and I'm going to put that. I'm going to put it into the form, and I'm going to put it after the employee notes there. I'm going to hit save and close. Remember, you got to hit save again. I'm going to go into Bob's record here, and I'm going to see what happens when I do that. So I'm going to hit save there. And now basically what's going to happen is it's going to put the, you know, items underneath, you know, here. So you can either do it like that, and then I've got this more information. It's kind of a workbooks thing as well too, and I don't like that either, so I'm going to should just get rid of that section by unchecking it. And so I'm going to not show it. And so I could put those fields there, and that's, you know, fine and dandy and everything, or I could create a new section and I could just call it like, you know, notes and or employee notes. Maybe that sounds better. And I'm going to make this one column because I want to allow those fields, you know, to be larger because they are like, you know, multi-line text. I'm going to put this in the parent section, or the parent section is going to be form rather, and I'm going to put it after the secretary information. I'm going to tile and border it, and then I'm going to collapse it. And then I'm just going to paste my value here, and now I've got my section called employee notes. And so, employee notes. So sometimes you have a section and it's already got the same name as the actual field. So then you can just get around that by typing in like employee notes section. So hit save and close, and that's going to create the section. And I'm just going to dump in those two fields real quick. So I've got my okay. So now I'm like, okay, another real neat little shortcut. I want to find my field value. So I'm just going to hit Control F on the keyboard. It's going to bring up my find item here. And I'm just going to type in resume, so I can find my field, and it's going to highlight it, and I can just click on the arrow to find it. Okay, there it is. So I click on resume, and I'm going to put it into the section for the employee notes. So it's going to be the employee notes section, and I'm going to put that last. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my employee notes, but this time I'm going to put the employee notes first. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the employee notes section, and instead of last, I'm just going to change it to first. Hit save and close. I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to go to Bob's record, and I'm going to show you guys, what that looks like. So I'm going to hit save here to refresh the record, and now I've created my default person layout. It's got all these fields here. I might want to change some things around or whatever, but this is a good start. And this shows you guys pretty much how to do everything. So I've got my different sections here: driver info, can't collapse that, secretary info, and then I've got my employee notes here. So if I expand that, now we can see that it's got a nice and big amount of space for us to use. So that's pretty much it for how to create a form layout and move everything around. If you have any questions or need anything else, you can certainly feel free to contact us through our website at www.lucidswitch.com, and we look forward to helping you out with your Workbooks integration. Thank you.